Welcome to Flattened Flat Space.
Liquid crystal is a material that makes up the flat screen. A liquid crystal is a state of matter which has properties between those of conventional liquids and those of solid crystals. For instance, a liquid crystal may flow like a liquid, but its molecules may be oriented in a crystal-like way. Let's walk through groups of liquid crystals. At the end, there is a space called flattened flat space. The flattened flat space is consisted of multiple layers of gridded clouds, and each grid on the clouds embodies phenomenon, memory, fact, or feeling in the real time and space, which will eventually turns into data and last in a flat form. Meanwhile, the clouds embodies category, share and transfer the data. These clouds move, evaporate, and join other clouds. Then they transform into one bigger cloud, scatter into a layer, or change the form or density. We live in three-dimensional space on top of another dimension, time, and we can say that we are living in the four-dimensional space-time. The flattened flat screen is a medium, platform, that bridges between three-dimensional space and another dimension, flattened flat space. Now we have a higher dimensional space, but we haven't added one, the time dimension. Actually, time dimensions, plural. Different time zones unify in the flattened flat space, but the flattened flat space time zone, again, flows with different speeds due to internet condition. Two different time zones in four-dimensional space-time and flattened flat space-time zone, and modified flattened flat space-time zone by internet condition. There are already four different dimensions. Add those four time dimensions to three-dimensional space or flattened flat space.
Oh, I'm not here to do the math.
The flattened flat space compresses time and space, and it has its own time zone and space. So, people can meet and talk with others in different places and time zones. A flat digital screen, 2 dimensions, is a junction between one 4D space-time and another. Flat screens take people to higher dimensions of the space-time. 4 dimensions at the lowest. 2 dimensions plus 2 dimensions is greater or equal to 4 dimensions. I can do math. In the flattened flat space, it is possible to gather different three-dimensional spaces into one place through 2-dimensional flat screens. The flattened flat spaces consisted of multiple layers of three-dimensional spaces. Even unifying different time zones is possible. The time is affected by the gravity. As you move closer to the center of gravity, the time goes slower, and moving farther from the center of gravity makes the time goes faster. Unlike the real time, in flattened flat space, where has no gravity, the time is affected by the internet conditions such as speed, server, number of users, or ping. In the flattened flat space, zero gravity. All time zones are likely to flow on a constant basis. But the internet condition can change the time flow. A weightlessness state is very similar to the data floating on this flattened flat space. The data floats everywhere. Now, let me introduce you an amazing data collector, the Big Brother. He will explain to you the exact meaning of data and how it gets formed and classified.
Hi, I am Big Brother, living and working in the flattened flat space. Thank you for inviting me. Expansion of smartphone and social media gave me a hard time categorizing and utilizing data. But thank you, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and etc. You made my life much easier.